Hi guys, it looks like we've gone live. I'm sorry, I was trying to reconnect a couple of the lives today. It looks like a couple of our destinations not connecting, and I did not realize that we were live. So I'm so sorry. All right. Well, welcome everyone. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Unfortunately, it looks like we have to reconnect. It is just me today for Angels in Action. Susie had some family things she had to deal with. She's fine. She will be back next week. But today I have a special play-in for all of us today here on Angels in Action. So I'm excited if you're tuning in. With StreamYard, it's amazing because we can broadcast to several different places. And it looks like today Susie is not on, and for some reason her links to Facebook are not on either. So I don't know why they are not connecting, but we will repost them there for you. And hopefully, those of you from those groups that wanted to find us today will find us. And let's see, I'm just going to send her a little message here and let her know. We are live, guys, here with Angels in Action today. I'm going to go ahead and we're going to work with angel therapy cards today. And we're also going to talk about healing and prayer, mostly prayer. We're going to talk about prayer today as well. Let's see here. I'm just going to message her. Not sure what happened there, guys, but I'm going to, for those of you listening that might be on Susie's pages, I'm just going to go ahead and message her this just in case. And hopefully, if you're wanting to attend today, you will find us if your pages are not connected. All right, done. Hopefully that works. So, guys, a little bumpy start here, but this is Angels in Action. And we are going to do what we always do, which is talk about angels and spirit guides. That could be ethereal angels like the archangels, angels from other that are they're the same energies, but they're identified differently throughout the world in different cultures. They don't all have the same name. Angels is really the Western Christian world terminology. And we are the ones that have really marketed it. And we're going to talk about, hopefully, if we get enough people today, we're going to have a prayer circle. So we're going to talk about powerful prayer. And if there's enough of us here, we are going to have a prayer circle today because, as Jesus said, where two or more are gathered. And so there really is power there, guys, because we're all one, right? So if we get a few of us on here, we can do that. And then we also have the angel therapy cards, which near the end, I'm going to go ahead and do card pulls for you guys when you hop on. And we'll do a little education with those readings so that you guys can understand, not just get the reading, but like actually know what to do with the reading, right? Walk away and know what to actually do with it, which is just the most important part, right? You don't just want to sit passively and get a reading. You want to, at least for me, spirit guides and angels come through and they give guidance as to what you do. Because this is about, you're the ones here in this world right now. It's your free will. It's you that you're assisting. It's your it's your frequency and vibration that we're working with, right? So that's really important. All right, I'm going to turn comments on here in case we have people comment. I'm going to go ahead and light some incense today. And I think today we will do, I've really been into the block orchard lately. I think we're going to do some log champa first. This is wonderful, guys. It's really wonderful for purifying the energy of the air, and it's just very powerful for connecting the world, the spirit, and the physical. That is very important there. I'm going to go ahead and light that. And then let me see here. guys like and let me know what you wear. Just letting our dog chomp here, our beautiful incense holder. Um, for us humans, it's not that we need this, guys, but it really helps to connect the world for us, our connection, right? Because we're the ones that have the challenge. We're the ones that have the hardest time connecting. Right? We're just have a hard time connecting with us. We have a hard time connecting with them. Their biggest challenge connecting with us is getting us to connect with them. So we have our incense here to help with that. I'm also going to light some incense for us. As I mentioned, I see a couple of you just popped on. Welcome, welcome. In the very beginning, I mentioned that Susie has to handle some family things today, so it is me, and I have a special day planned for you today. And we're going to do some angel therapy cards, and if we get enough people, we're going to have a prayer circle. We're going to talk about how to do that powerfully, so that you guys can have a really powerful prayer that makes you happy. Also going to take a moment and message Susie and let her know that this is not posted to groups as well. Just one moment to do that. When you guys come on, feel free to say hello. That would be amazing. All right, sorry guys. All right, so I do have a special thing for you guys, and hopefully we'll get enough people on here today to participate in this. So let's what we're waiting for people to let's go ahead and talk about angels and angel cards. I'm going to talk about. I have a lot of different cards. Both Susie and I have a variety of cards, and one of the things that I wanted to go over with you today was I'll do this one on is what cards really are the important cards and how they can work and are powerful for you. Maybe why readers use them for messages, and also which cards work best for you. Right? So while we're waiting for people to log on, I will go over that about cards. And I chose angel therapy cards today because I'm hoping we're going to have enough people in the prayer circle. Angel therapy cards go really prayer, right? Which is learning how to have for a circle, we're actually holding sacred space for one another, holding sacred space for those prayers, right? So I love the Dory Virtue. Now, since her cards came out, guys, these are the ones I have that I'm going to use today. Since her cards came out, I mean, her cards, she really is such a forerunner for all of this angel world today. But since her cards have come out, so many other beautiful and amazing cards have been created. Cards, a lot of cards I'm creating. So there are a lot of cards you can choose. That the most important thing for you is that you choose cards that are a good match. That's what matters. So you want to choose the cards that you really like, that you maybe think are beautiful, or that have messages that resonate with you. And that's what's really important because just like when you have like a rose quartz, you're holding a stone or a quartz in your hand, the more you work with and hold that stone, I've had these cards quite a while. So I wouldn't let other people use my cards because these cards have my energy connection to them, to spirit, right? These cards are not necessary for me. As a matter of fact, I used to not like using cards or anything because I don't need it. But it's not about me. It's about connecting and communicating not only between you and spirit, but between you as the reader and your audience. And people love these, right? So again, if you're going to buy cards, you want to choose cards that resonate with you. I do not, let people use my cards because these cards now have my energy connection to spirit in them, and they're my tool, right? So that's really important. If you order cards and you decide that you don't like them or they don't resonate with you, you can go ahead and clear them and give them away, and the person that has them, maybe only use them once, right? For me, even if someone else touches my card, I keep the card. It's energy. So I usually don't even let people touch my cards. It's, sometimes I will, I'll let people keep the card or whatever. But these are actually, the cards themselves, guys, are nothing. They do nothing. But when you connect them to a reader, or for you, a person that has them, and they're your cards and you're using them, that's when the power comes in. Their vehicle. That's really cool. So anyway, if we have enough people to pop on today, um, but again, Doreen was, she was the first. I was already connected with angels, but as far as an author and a famous person or teacher, she was the first real Western world person that I really got into, that I found to be very authentic and valid in her work, even though she doesn't do that. And so I trusted her cards and her messages because I knew they were coming directly right through the angels. So anyway, those are the ones we'll use if you guys pop on today. The other thing is that having an angel or a prayer circle is super important. And so when we have enough people, for 2 or 3 people, or 3 or 4 people, it's very powerful. Audio is there. Huh. Audio is so bad, I can't hear you. It's internet connection. I've seen there. Not hard. It's the hard. Hi, Facebook user. Welcome. I'm so sorry. No, my internet connection is very strong, actually. Let's check this out. I'm not sure why the internet connection sounded really bad. Sorry about that. Thank you for letting me know. So strange. Looks like all the sound is fine. By the way, if you guys want me to see who you are, if you want me to be able to see your name, I have posted on the banner instructions for that. So you would just, if you're on it says Facebook user. So on Facebook, you would just have to, it's free, but you just have to pop into StreamYard, and then I can see who you are. But yeah, so these are the Oracle cards, and we usually have a ton of people on here. So if we have enough people, then we will go ahead and do our prayer circle, and we'll do some card work later on in the broadcast. But I'm waiting to see if we're going to get enough people to actually do that today. But yeah, let me know if the audio is any better. I just checked all my settings and everything's great. My internet is very strong. So just let me know if that's better. I even have echo cancellation on, reduce mic background noise. All right. So anyway, that should do it. Nothing else I can do there with volume. Hopefully that helps. Can hear me now. Okay, interesting. Well, I guess the whole first 15 minutes of this broadcast is botched then between me messaging Susie and having issues with sound, but oh well. Anyway, so we were just what I wanted to go into too while we're waiting to see if more people log on is the power of the prayer circle. It's really powerful because even if you have everyone praying for someone or something different, just in holding that safe space and that energy, there's an intense energy focus of holding space for those prayers that are being given. And so when you have an actual circle of people, it's very helpful. And, that's one of the things I've actually wanted to do for a long time that Susie and I are going to be doing is holding a prayer circle. And people can come and we will give, tips and tools and techniques for powerful prayer and how to make it more effective, and then we will put that into practice while we are all together and actually come together and empower everyone's prayer by praying together. So I want to kind of go over that for a moment as well. And guys, I'm not into any particular religion. I'm not religious. Science and spirituality are not mutually exclusive. I'm more into the consciousness because elements of consciousness and universal truths are found in different religions and different spiritual beliefs. The spiritual beliefs and the religions are actually mindset. They're man-made, they're human-made. They're not God-made, right? Or I guess they are God-made because they're human-made. But the point is that it's when you're neutral enough, like I'm coming at this from a very neutral perspective. Most of our listeners come from more of a Christian background, and I do have a very close connection with the spirit and the soul and the teacher Jesus. So I do often use him as an example because he's one of the most well-known and powerful teachers that we know and examples that we have of an enlightened being. So one of the things that that Jesus taught that is also now coming back up in a lot of manifesting and healing and prayer work, but it's being regurgitated, right, for thousands of years, is to pray from a place of gratitude, right? Pray from a place that it is already done. So we've kind of gone through this lapse of, I'd say a lot of centuries of prayer, especially in our modern day, becoming more almost like a begging. I remember as a kid, I first learned about prayer, and, I remember things I wanted so bad, like, my God, please make this happen. Oh, please, God, please, or praying to my angels like that. But that is actually coming from a very disempowered place. And beings, we are all source and we all have that automatic connection. It's so empowering to be able to come to pray as though it is already done from a very grateful place, because the now is the most powerful place to manifest. And gratitude is, I cannot even tell you guys how powerful gratitude is. And one of the ways we raise our vibration is through gratitude. And one of the things my coaching clients and my reading clients, experience when I'm working with them is really encouraging them to practice gratitude at new levels, not just saying it, not just for, just the same repetitive things that you might just be thinking, but to actually feel it and to feel it when it's most difficult, right? To be grateful for things when it is most difficult. That means when things happen to you that you don't want, that you don't like, that you think indicate an outcome that you're not going to want, right? Which is really just your ego not wanting it because it doesn't think it's going to get what it wants. But when we are grateful and find a way to be grateful for everything, here's my calico. She always pops in when I do a broadcast. Her name's Boo. Very fitting. But when we are grateful for everything, what starts happening is those trials and tribulations become less harsh and more brief,
and fewer. And we build a much stronger connection with our intentional manifestations. And I want to give you guys a couple examples of these things. I got cat hair in my mouth. Um, I'm proud to say I still get migraines, but they're very mild now compared to what they were. Um, Thank you. She is cute. But there were years where I had migraines that would last like a whole week. I couldn't drive. I couldn't get out of bed. I was throwing up. I couldn't eat. I couldn't even drink. I was like sucking on ice cubes. And long story how I've been able to somewhat transform that, or transform that a lot. But I remember I was in Michigan helping a friend. Welcome, whoever our third person is. Say hi, guys, if you want to. And don't forget, if you're on Facebook, you need to log in through StreamYard. It's free. If you want me to see who you are, if you're logging in through our YouTube page, all you got to do is subscribe and I can see you and you can comment. Okay. But anyway, I remember I got a migraine as soon as I got up to Michigan. It was about a 6-7 hour drive. And I spent the weekend helping my friend. And then I had to drive home. And driving with a migraine is one of the most difficult things. Every moment is hell. For those of you that have migraines, you understand. For those of you that don't, usually people don't really take us seriously, but it's a serious thing. And I was right in the midst of my learning gratitude. And I'm not going to tell the whole how I got into gratitude story, because I want to save that for a broadcast where Susie and I are talking about gratitude. So I want to save that for the two of us to share. But I do want to let you know that in this process of, having been blown away by the power of gratitude, the only thing I could think to do for that 6-7 hour drive home was to just kind of focus on a mantra, right? All the way home, because I had to stay focused. I had to stay awake. I had to drive. I just had to get home. And I just said, thank you all the way home. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Over 6 hours of thank you, with the exception of a couple phone calls to my parents and whatnot. So what's interesting is it helped my head considerably, and it helped me to get home. And that particular migraine was quite a bit shorter than the migraines prior. So it was very interesting part of my journey, learning and studying the power of gratitude. And, it's something that when you are praying for someone or something, a situation, a person, an animal, yourself, to get answers, any of that, gratitude is the most powerful way to receive. It is the most powerful way to invite and allow in. And a really powerful combination with that is surrender. Okay. So when we surrender, and I mean we're accepting the situation as it is, instead of, what you resist persists. So when you surrender, what are you doing? You are eliminating the resistance, right? And so when you eliminate the resistance, you are allowing the flow of things. You are allowing the answer for those prayers. You are allowing the process of your intention. You are allowing, by free will, source to come in and help you. Okay. So when we surrender, okay, like it is what it is, right? And then we pray from a place of gratitude. Wow. And I get chills even sharing that. Where people get caught up and deterred, and guys, I have been doing this, I have been coaching for over 20 years now. And I've been doing readings longer than that. And this whole powerful gratitude thing, let me think. This probably started I want to say maybe 2013 or so that I've really been doing. So 10 years now since my powerful gratitude experience, which I will share with you when Susie and I are both on. But the surrender and the gratitude, they bring you into the present. And the now is the most powerful place to manifest. So what are you really doing when you're praying? It's a form of manifesting, right? Prayer is a form of manifesting. So when you surrender, repetition is key. So I'm going to repeat this. When you surrender and you experience gratitude, not just throw it out there like, oh, I'm thankful for this, I'm thankful for that. And it's an intellectual thing. You have to feel it. When you're gratitude from the inside out and you're projecting that gratitude, but you've already surrendered, which means you're turning it over to God, source, spirit, the universe, whoever you're praying to. And that is showing when you surrender, you are eliminating the resistance, right? Which is persisting in the thing that you're not wanting, which you resist persists. So you're getting out of your own way by surrendering. You're also allowing source, spirit, God to come in and help you. And so those, it's really important you have both of those, right? If you just surrender, it'll help. If you're just grateful, it'll help. But that sequence, surrender and gratitude, right? You're turning it over to God, source, spirit, is showing that the surrender shows that you're trusting. And if any of you listen to or follow my A1R psychic radio program on Thursday nights at 9:30 p.m. EDT, which would be like the middle of the night for you, those of you in the UK. But what happens is, on the last one, I shared some angel stories last week. And one of the things that came through, and I love the way that this came out and expressed itself, is that this is a partnership with spirit. Your life, the work we're talking about, what Susie and I share with you guys here on these readings, is partnership with spirit. Spirit, angels, spirit guides, past loved ones. Oh, thank you guys for your feedback. I'm glad it resonates with you. They are always being the perfect partner because they're in pure energy, pure conscious form, right? It is us humans here that have this tailored special opportunity to make mistakes, to not understand, to be confused, to have these physical manifestations of things in non-physical, right? So ultimately, when we are surrendering, we're saying, I trust the universe. I trust my partnership with the universe. When we pray, we don't always get an immediate response, guys. When we pray, we don't always have, uh-oh, here's Susie. Yay. Okay. But Susie, I'm going to keep finishing what I'm saying first. Welcome. I got to finish what I'm saying first, Susie. Hi. Great to see you. Yay. So glad you're here. We've had nobody on here without you. So I guess they just all follow you. Anyway, the point here, guys, is that when we surrender, that very trust is saying to us, I'm in partnership with you. It's our free will saying, I'm willing to do this. I'm in partnership with you. Okay. So that's what I meant on the A1R show when I was saying this is a partnership, right? It is. It's an ongoing partnership. It's not all up to the angels and spirit guides. It's not all up to us. It is a partnership. So let me pause here for just a moment and explain to Susie what's going on. Welcome. What a wonderful surprise to see you here. So I had this whole beautiful thing planned for my audience today, since I didn't think you were going to be with us. And then I went to go live and all of your links would not connect. I don't know what happened. So I did try to fix it. I know you can repost it there, but I know a lot of your audience loves to join us too. So unfortunately, I'm not being selfish. I've got all mine on there, but none of yours. So Anyway, and I know this is usually a booming podcast, so I'm not sure what's going on today. But Susie, let me fill you in on what we are doing. What I was doing, because this is really brilliant. So those of you watching this on the rebroadcast, I hope you really enjoy this. Ignore my first 10 minutes of glitches. Evidently, our Facebook user here shared with me that the sound was terrible the first 10 minutes. So I don't know why. Everything on my end looks great, but I had brought these angel therapy cards, Susie. So I talked a little bit about angel cards and the ones you've created and the ones I want to create. And hi, Stephanie, welcome. Good to see you. And so I was going to do this and I was going to have a prayer circle, but I haven't had enough people to have a prayer circle today either. So since it's already 1:18, we'll probably wait for that now. But yeah, so that was the plan here for today. And I just kind of went over with everybody. I went over with everyone about prayer and prayer circle and powerful prayer. And I also went over the angel therapy cards, which I was going to do a 1-card pull for people after our prayer circle today. And so anyway, so it was supposed to be a real powerful broadcast, but we're almost an hour in here already. So anyway, welcome, Susie. So Stephanie, we'll be happy to work with you. I was not actually just going to do readings today. I had a whole plan for things. And we will go ahead and do a reading for you. But here's the problem: if we get on and everybody just gets on and wants readings, all this becomes is a free reading session, and we don't get to really help you guys understand how to work with the angels. So we'll be happy to do a reading for you today. We always take readings at the end. But what's very challenging for people like Susie and I who do readings is every time you do a live and you try to share something valuable, everybody just wants a free reading. And it becomes not that it's not valuable, and we do it each broadcast, but people tend to pop on, ask for a reading, and then they leave. They either leave before they get their reading because they don't want to wait, or they leave as soon as they get a reading, and then you don't have a broadcast. So just word to the wise, one of the things that, and I'm not afraid to say this, I mean, a lot of people don't like me saying this, but getting a free reading is great. It's not the same as scheduling a reading, but it's what you do with it. It's what you do after it, right? And that's why Susie and I are making this more of a discussion broadcast, and then we will turn people's readings into that discussion, because this is about empowering you guys, not showing off our reading skills. We really want you guys to walk away empowered. And with, I mean, I've done this a long time, so I'm not embarrassed to say any of this. And we can do it now. We don't have a lot of people on here, Stephanie. I just want to make sure you guys know that, because one of the reasons years ago I stopped getting on my psychic medium page was because every single time I got on to offer value, I was bombarded by people just wanting free readings. And then I'd never see them again, or they come back for another one. And Spirit has so much more to offer than that. So anyway, I'll say one more thing before we get into your reading. Today, my intention was to have a prayer circle. And usually we have a ton of people on this broadcast. And, you need a certain amount of people to actually hold space for a prayer circle. And so I was going to do the prayer circle first and the readings last, because then the people who really value the broadcast tend to stay on and be present. And I want you guys to be able to experience the power of a prayer circle and the way that we're showing you guys how to use prayer powerfully, so that you can really hold space for one another. And then before we get into your reading, you're welcome. I also want to mention too, I want to just finish with what I was saying before Susie got on. When you guys pray, or even when you have a reading, remember that immediate gratification is something that has to do with our current modern day Western world. It is not real. It is not real. But that 95% of our mind that is brainwashed, that is programmed by society and all of our friends and family, thinks that it is. So please just keep in mind that if we do a reading for you today, or you're in a prayer circle, trust spirit and allow that it's outside of time and space. So there may be things in a reading that don't resonate with you, but that will resonate and be significant to you. And spirit's coming through us now, because now is when you're with us. Same thing with the prayer circle. Oftentimes it doesn't mean an instant healing. It often means you connect with the right person that knows the right person that connects with the right doctor that gets you the treatment you need. It's not always a snap your fingers and someone is healed. So just keep that in mind. I had a wonderful lady who I read for a couple months ago, and there was a dog that came through in her reading with her father, and she never heard of the dog before. She didn't know anything about it, and I told her, that's fine. No matter how much you may argue with me, I trust spirit, because what's coming through for me is real, whether you resonate with it right now or not. Give it a few weeks or months and you'll find validation for the dog. She sent me a picture a couple days ago of the dog that had been her father's childhood dog, because this was the dog that showed up with her father in spirit. And she said, oh my God, you were right. And I didn't even remember telling her about the dog. And then I did when she sent me the photograph. She sent me the photograph of the dog that was her father's childhood dog. And it was the exact dog that had come through in the reading. So, be patient and give it time. Let's see. Do you have, Stephanie, do you have a particular question that you would like us to focus on? What is your question for a reading? That will just help open things up and connect. Do you have anything in particular you want us to, anything in particular? And it's coming up as Susie. Huh? I hit it and it's coming up as Susie. Isn't that weird? Oh,
no, I've just selected the things to go live. So.
Oh, wonderful. Okay. Oh, that's funny, because I just selected Stephanie's post to put up and you selected yours and you won out. Good job, Susie.
No, well, I didn't select mine. It just
oh, it did.
on
Susie and I battle out, guys, without meaning to, the comments. What comes up, we hit them at the same time. Wonderful. Oh, I'm so grateful. Okay. Good. I'm glad you're here with us today. Excellent. I'm glad you're on the lives now. I'm not sure why it wouldn't let me do it.
We'll have a look at it. We'll have a look at the technology later.
Yes, we will.
Yeah.
See what's happened. Yeah, I switched mine out today, one of mine out, and it worked just fine. Okay. So you don't really know. Okay. Let's see here. Well, what happens is sometimes, like, I do reverse readings, and sometimes, like, if someone or something, Stephanie, like, needs to be shared with you, it will usually come through. If a person has, let's say they've been on some other lives and they've gotten some readings and information, if a person's being really stubborn and they're not getting something, often spirit will come through other readers and give them the same message. Other times they don't really, if you're doing fine, they don't really, there's nothing emergency to get through. But if a person is interested in something in particular, or they're curious, they just want to know something, that really helps. I don't, I'm not getting anything really specific for you, honestly, right now. It might just be that I just don't have a link for it. Sometimes the link is just the person. Sometimes it's a question. If you don't know and you just want a reading for fun, that's fabulous. But a lot of times, if spirit doesn't have something they think you need to know, or they think you already know or have gotten the message to, I have to send an intention for you. So, one of the things I might say is that, if you always have some sort of focus or intention of where you want to be headed, then what I find is that spirit comes through more readily, consistently, because it is working with your pursuit, if that makes sense. Hi, Teresa. Welcome. If it's spirits, here, let me pull your other comment up, Stephanie. If it is spirits of a loved one or something, if they already feel that you know they are present, then they're not as anxious to step forward. If they feel that you need to know them, I'll read yours in just a second, then they will push their way through. Let's see. My grandfather and grandfather passed, and my 2 dogs. Okay, wonderful. Dogs love to come through. Let's see. So let's make sure we have the correct. I want to make sure that I have everything correct here.
Are you all right if I speak?
Oh, sure. Go ahead. Then I'll pick up where it was.
Do you want to carry on?
It's fine.
Okay. So while you were talking, I've shuffled a few cards for Stephanie here. So the feeling that I'm getting around you at the moment, Stephanie, is that there's this sense of you being at a crossroads, that there's some choices that you need to be thinking about making. The first card that I pulled for you is Dual Call, and it's about divine mission. And then the following cards that came up for you were Divine Flow, Fairy Dreams and Wishes, and Souls. And these 3 cards are from my own personal oracle deck. So these cards are all to do with like the autumn winter period. They all feel very much about there's this time for you at the moment that you perhaps are needing to spend some time in reflection. You know, autumn going into winter is very much about hibernation for me. It's very much about a time where you just have to go in, regenerate, recharge your batteries, and really start to think about what it is that you want to be doing and with the direction in which you want to go from. I do feel very much as well that you're perhaps somebody who thinks spends more time in your head than in your heart. And I need you to start feeling into your heart energy, start working with that, and start to really feel into what these choices are that you want to make. There feels like there's ties from the past that are holding you back a little bit at the moment. And again, it's about really reflecting on those ties. What have you learned from them? What lessons can you take from the past? And some of this feels like recent past, but it also feels a bit like we're going back quite a few years. So maybe something within the family that took place that's holding you back. Larkin and I work very much on the subconscious and subconscious beliefs. So I feel there's something in there as well, that there's a subconscious belief that perhaps you were told when you were younger that you couldn't achieve something, you couldn't do something, you put all your dreams and wishes and goals on hold because of this belief. So I feel like it's about you digging a little bit deeper and just really feeling into all of this. So it's very much from my feeling for you at the moment, you need to be in a space of reflection, a space of peace and tranquility. So I feel perhaps life is very busy around you at the moment. I'm sort of being pulled into this vortex, and I'm being pulled in different directions. So I just feel that I want you to just really settle inside yourself and stop being pulled by other people's thoughts and what they believe you should be doing, because this is just adding to that swirl of energy that's really just not serving you at the moment. And you really do need to just come back into yourself. Now, how you do that can be through meditation, it can be through journaling. I'm very drawn to wanting to take you out into nature. So I feel nature for you is a place where you can go and find solitude and solace. The problem there, I feel, though, is that sometimes you can go too much in the other direction. I don't know what star sign you are. Maybe if you could drop that in there, Larkin might be able to use that to pick up on something with what's going on with this message here, because I feel very much that you can be, if I had to guess, I don't like the word guess, but if I had to pick a star sign at the moment with the feelings that I'm getting, I would say Libran or Libran energy, because I very much feel the scales of balance are not equal at the moment, and you can go very much in one direction. So you need to be careful about how, when you do go into solace and solitude, that you don't go too deep into it. It's almost like you can be pulled into that, and then you can become you can become very introverted as well. You know, you can very go into yourself rather than finding that happy space, if you like, that balance. So it's almost like, I feel mood swings is the words that I want to describe here as well. So it's very much about just using this time to reflect, use this time to deepen your soul connection. And I do feel the soul connection is your connection to your higher self, to your intuition, to those around you, not necessarily to the world of spirit as such, but certainly with your own internal navigation system, if you want. Those dreams that you had as a child, a teenager, a young woman are still very much there, can still be tapped into, and you can still really start to go with the flow of finding which of those dreams really resonate with you now, and you can achieve them. And it's about letting go of those subconscious beliefs.
Yes. Yes, I second all of that. Michelle Harris, we are well. Thank you so much. Yeah, I mean, Susie, that was spot on. Thank you for doing the cards. I think you're really accurate there. I get the same things. I think the first thing that I got for you, Stephanie, and this is why I was trying to help direct you, because oftentimes, you know, the readings are also a three-way street. And the first feeling that I got for you, Stephanie, was lost. And I didn't want to start the reading out that way. In other words, there needed to be some sort of more decisive focus. And so as I worked on that, it allowed things to come in. Susie's had a great idea with the cards. I think those were really, that was beautiful. And as she was speaking, it was just verifying what I was getting for you as well. So I think that one of the great things about having us both on here is that, you know, we can verify that. We tend to share it very differently, but we get the same information. I want to go back to the one with the dog and the grandma.
Stephanie. I'm just going to say a quick hello to everybody that's popped in while you're.
And I did as well. I did it in the messenger.
Yeah. Hi, Skylight. Thank you so much. I saw lovely Deborah and Michelle and V. Welcome, everybody. Love to have you all here.
So, Stephanie, I'm going back to find the message I had up about your grandma and your dogs that I had posted. Hold on one second here.
I'll put it up.
Okay. Yeah, thank you. So yeah. So guys, sorry when I said hi to everyone while Susie was talking because I didn't want to interrupt her. But you'll notice that when we reply to your comments, which is a lot of times why we'll wait not to interrupt each other and then just say it verbally later. We're not ignoring you. There's just not always space to verbally say hi right away. I think we're way more attentive than most readers because I usually get on, they don't even see anybody. So we're probably being OCD about it. But you'll notice, and we haven't figured it out yet, when we reply to you, it's like all of our pages reply. We don't mean to do that, but that's what's happening. So, you know, just be patient with this.
Yeah.
So we'll try to get to all of you, but I want to get back to Stephanie with what was coming through for me when we started reading her cards. I was feeling that feeling of loss, which I think I don't need to go over now because Susie pretty much covered it absolutely perfectly. And it ties into that, so it's fine. But a lot of that has to do with not being afraid to make a decision and to just really trust in yourself. And as Susie said, get out in nature and go back to what you loved as a kid. So I'm not going to repeat Susie's reading. I would have shared the same information in a very different way. But that feeling of loss that I was getting when you first popped up, you might not feel lost, but it's a reconnecting with yourself. It's a stepping into your power and being okay and trusting you moving forward. And again, Susie's card reading was a perfect example of what I was talking about today before everybody got on, that the cards are just tools. They don't by themselves, they're nothing. But when you put them with a reader or you pull them yourself, they are the vehicles to focus that spirit message that is coming in. I do want to, let's see. So your grandparents and your dogs, so they are there, they are present. The first and foremost thing that spirit wants you to know is that they're there, right? And so because as soon as you popped up, usually spirit pops up immediately for me with people. Hi, Deborah, welcome. As soon as that happens, usually the spirit comes through if spirit has a message, which is why a lot of times I do reverse readings. Like if spirit's following us around for weeks and then all of a sudden, it's like, because they're waiting for someone we're going to connect with. That does happen. Usually, Stephanie, if the loved ones are not, I don't want to say in a panic because spirit doesn't panic, but if they don't feel a strong need to get and reassure you, okay, we're here with you, you're okay, all of that, they will come in when invited. I mean, I don't think I've ever had a spirit not come in, but it doesn't mean they're like popping right up, right? Whereas if they had been like, oh, I got to get through to her, then the second you popped up on the screen, when I tuned into you, they would have popped up. Sometimes it needs a question, like, I want to talk to my grandmother or something like that. But the first thing just to know is that they're okay and they are fine. Let's see. The dogs know one another in spirit. Did you have them together while they were here? I'm sorry. There's a lot of sirens going on my street today, which is very unusual. Because they're all there together, actually, which is not uncommon. A lot of times, usually, actually, animals are family members. They're part of our soul spirit. Oh, thank you, Stephanie. Part of our spirit family. So they will be there with our human loved ones that passed on. They have souls. They go to heaven. They're there, right? But first thing I saw, so thank you for that validation, is that the dogs were also together here, like in this world, that they knew each other in this world as well. And then I see, let's see, you have a second here. Sorry, I got to scroll back up. It pulls everyone out at once here. Welcome, Tristan. Let's see, you had them since you were 5. Oh, wow, that's amazing. Yeah, they were definitely a huge part of your life. So they're there watching you as well, and they're present with you, and you'll see them again. Let's see. So when you think of them, they're there, all of them. Now I see someone braiding your hair. Was that your grandmother? Did you used to have, well, it looks like you've got long hair now, but I see someone braiding your hair. And they're just coming through, showing me things just to validate their presence there. She died before you were born. Okay. Well, I see your hair being braided. So who used to braid your hair? Someone used to braid your hair? Because this is definitely your hair being braided. And I see a woman's hands braiding your hair. So one of the reasons that you are asking about her, yeah, I see that they both died before you were born. I can see that. Because what came through was that, so one of the reasons that you like really wanted to hear from them or see if they were present is, so you existed before this life, right? You were born before this life. I mean, you existed eternally before this life, and you will exist after this life. This life is just a little experience in the middle of your eternal existence. So your soul already knew their souls. You guys were already close. You're in the same soul family as your grandparents. So what I'm seeing is that it was actually important that they passed before you were born, because they spent time with your soul before you came into this world. And you actually, you have a lot of energy that actually resonates with them, that you were born with, because you spent that soul time with them. So know that they are looking after you. They are with you all the time. They are, I don't like to use the term spirit guides with our loved ones passed on, because I like to distinguish, so people know if it's like spirit guides they haven't known as like relatives, or because your eternal spirit guides you're just as close to. It doesn't mean they're not there helping you. I usually call them like your angels that have passed on or whatever. It's like you've got a new angel, right? They are looking after you though. They are doing, it's not the same exact thing as spirit guide work, but they are, I just make that a whole third category so people can distinguish more easily. They are walking with you, looking after you, assisting you, helping you out, and with you, very, very present. Okay. Just as though they had been here with you in this life. Okay. And yeah. So one of the things too, I just want to leave you with this. One of the things too is that there's like this longing, there's the deep longing that you're not sure to identify within yourself, that is there, um, is something they're trying to help you recover. Okay, let me cover this first. Skylight, we will get to in just a minute. I'm almost done here. I need to see this up here. No, absolutely not. Is my grandmother mad at my dad? No. This is a good question, and then we'll get back. We'll get to the rest of you guys. So emotions are a human thing. Feelings we have, whether we're human or non-physical, emotion are a human thing. So when you cross over, you are not mad, you're not angry, you're not jealous, your feelings are not hurt, you don't feel threatened by somebody, you're not resentful. None of that. It goes away. As soon as you leave your human sight, it's gone. Okay. Hi, Vess. Welcome. So, please know that no, your grandmother is not mad at your dad. What there is from the other side is unconditional love. There's always unconditional love because we go back to our true source. Please keep in mind that while in human form, we have these human personalities with a human ego. The human ego dies with our body. The eternal essence of unconditional love is who we are eternally. And when we have our life review, I do not like that term. It's been a popularized spiritualist type term that we use, but for lack of a better word, we're immediately aware of everything we've done, everything everyone else has done, and why. There is no lying or covering the truth in non-physical. So everything, including why other people do things and why they make the choices that they make, goes away. So no, your grandmother has only unconditional love for your father. She's actually very proud of him. She sees where she made errors and she embraces the choices and mistakes that he made, right? Because you all have free will and we choose to come here together to have these experiences. Okay. So I think that probably is one of the most important reasons for them coming through today. Okay, Stephanie. So just know as we leave you here with your dogs and your grandparents, you now have a stronger connection with them because we've done a reading. So you will be able to connect and tune into them more easily. They're always trying to get through to you and they can always see, hear, and feel you, but you'll be able to resonate with them more easily as well. Okay. Thank you, Stephanie. And I hope that that was helpful to you. Let's see. So did Skylight have, let's see, a question? I'm trying to go back and find it in all of Susie's and my replies. There it is. Awesome. Let's see. Hello there. I'm male. My name is Hans. If possible, may I have a message from loved ones, please? Thank you. Wonderful and welcome. I love the name. Skylight. That's wonderful. Michelle, we'll get to you in a little bit here. Let's see. Let's tune in and see what's going on for Skylight here. Yeah. Oh, go ahead. I'm just looking at his energy right now.
I'm muted.
You are.
So with you, I'm going to call you Skylight because I absolutely love the name. I think this name for me very much reverberates around your energy. As I was sat here just tuning in and feeling into the essence of what's around you, your energy just feels so lovely, but also quite powerful as well. So I feel that I'm being shown a cliff edge. So it's almost like you're on the precipice of this new venture, that something big around you is beginning, if you haven't already stepped into this energy and this power, because I do get a sense that you work with energy, that energy, you are very aware of your own energy. You're very aware of the energy of those around you. But there's something where you are changing. It's almost like this pulsation coming in. I can feel this light pulsing through you, and at times it feels like perhaps it might even, your whole body might feel a little bit overwhelmed by this sense. So I'm being very drawn to the angelic energies, to the light energies is what I want to say. And I just feel this is light, as in perhaps other types of beings, if that's something that you work with. The card that I pulled out first for you was Lady Venus, and she talks about light activation, call to action, power, and your earth mission. The three cards that came out from the other deck for you are the Rainbow Angel, Wisdom, and Settlement. And I do feel very much that I want to say, just settled for a while, as in you were just settling for what was, for what is, almost as if you were like, okay, if I just settle for that, it'll be fine. But then you've started to get this sense of almost urgency to be doing something else. And the feeling I get is it's about you working with this light energy in whatever form that is, whether it be with the angels or other planetary beings, however you work. But there's something really strong coming in around this for you. So it's about, in one way, settling your energy field so that you can start to work with this energy, start to get this connection, start to really ground into this as well, because I do feel very much you need to be earth grounding as well, not just up there with all this lovely light and activation, but to be able to make this connection so that you can start bringing your own wisdom through. I'm being shown books and coursework around you at the moment, but I feel this is a planning phase. It feels more like this is something you're planning to do and is part of what is going to take place for you. There's also a very lovely lady coming through as well for you. She feels like, I want to say she's grandmother on mum's side, and she has this very warm, positive energy about her, and she's bringing this through, and there's like this huge thumbs up coming in as well. So whatever it is that you're doing at this moment, it's about grounding your energy into your wisdom, making that connection to your own energy, to the light activation that's coming through, and just this message of all systems go. So I hope that helps and resonates for you. Skylight, sorry. See, I want to say starlight as well. So there's something in that too. And okay, over to you, Larkin.
Oh, beautiful. So the first thing that was coming into me as Susie started her reading, right before she started it, and I can't believe how she rounded it up at the end. So perfect. Just this really huge, powerful, loving female motherly energy coming in. And so you were asking, messages from loved ones. Again, I'm getting a very strong motherly or grandmotherly figure. She's not old, but she's not young either. So it could be either one. Oftentimes, grandmothers will come in a little younger. They'll come in the way you remember them. Or if your parents pass away, they will often come in. Sometimes they come as though they're younger, but they often come through to us in the way that we remembered them. And there is this huge, loving, protective, very supportive, unconditional love energy coming through for you. I see you wrote here, yes, your grandmother, mother's side. Yeah. Okay. So let this be, validation is really, really important. And for every reader and every soul and spirit, it's different because the communication is different. Just like every person you communicate with is different. We are translating hundreds of thousands, literally, of frequencies just to communicate with each soul or each message that comes in. So we're sifting and sorting and sifting and sorting. They can come through to us, but there has to be a way we can get them. The fact that Susie and I both, I mean, as soon as she took over her reading, I've been just sitting here with chills. Like I had to wait for her to finish because it was bringing tears to my eyes. There, you said, yes, your grandmother, that grandmother energy was so strong. That strong feminine love mother type energy was so strong. And, you guys have such a close soul connection. And, again, there is so much love and light coming from you anyway. And I feel like this whole reading, I'm getting chills, both while Susie was speaking for you and I was. So when you're thinking of her or a loved one crossed over and you're getting those chills, hi, Chrissy, welcome. That's their electromagnetic energy there with you. And, you are really picking up on her messages and her support and her guidance, whether you're conscious that you are or not, I'm not sure, but you are picking up on it. She does come through to you very well. And also what I'm seeing is there's an element of wisdom that you both share. So I'm getting something along, we have ethereal jobs on the other side, and I'm getting something along the lines of, space frequency holder and wisdom keepers. That you and your grandmother both share a lot of the same energetic and soul tasks. And so you have a lot of that in common. So one of the reasons you might, have wanted to hear from her and see who was around is because there's that, your subconscious and your soul knows that energy is there and is supporting you. And we often need that in this world. We need that backup from the spirit side. So let us know if that resonates with you. That is so powerful. Susie, is there something you want to say?
I just want to say a quick hi to everybody that I've missed. So hi, Teresa. Hi, Tristan. Michelle. So busy. So as Larkin was saying, I just want to sort of reiterate, when we get into the zone of readings, if we don't say hi to you, it's not because we haven't seen you. It's just because we're in a different space, and yeah, we're not ignoring you. So I'm just scrolling back and just seeing who we're catching up with. And I was just reading Michelle's lovely questions as well.
Can we do this one first? I wanted to do this one first because it came in.
Yeah, please do. Yeah,
I've been trying to get to these. These are so good.
We love these questions. We really do. So
V, we see your question too. We try to get to as many as we can, guys.
Absolutely. And hi to Chrissy, who's popped in as well. Lovely to see you again.
You'll hear we usually repeat each other when we're saying hi, guys. We kind of obsessed with the hellos. So Michelle, does it get boring without different sorts of emotions? So this is such a great question because I think these probably were triggered by some of the things we were talking about with Stephanie's reading. And, first of all, no, you're never bored. And this could go, I mean, we could go on for hours about this. So you do feel, you experience. As a matter of fact, in a lot of ways, you experience more freely and more vibrantly than you do here. It's just a different version. It's just at a different frequency. So you do experience things. Emotions are actually the mind and the body. It's a biochemical thing associated with the brain. So you have to have the egoic self, also known as the mind, also known as thought, in order to have emotions, because emotion is the mind and the body, and it is chemically related, right? So if you feel jealous and you get, and your ears get red and you get hot and angry and your heart starts to race and your blood pressure goes up, that's an emotion. If you feel sad or deserted or super excited, it's an emotion. To the body, excitement is the same exact thing as nervousness. So it is not that you don't have experiences that are feeling. It is that on a more tangible level, we are at a lower frequency. So I'm going to try to explain this. Everything we have here in this world is like replicated hologram version of what's in non-physical. So it's not that you don't experience food and cooking and smells and sensations in non-physical. You do. It's that here in the physical world, we have this added lower vibrational layer that gives us there really is no physical world, guys. I'll tell you that right now, to be honest. We're 99.999% space. So the fact that you have physical sensations is actually an illusion. And Susie, who was a surgical nurse, she could say, no, she knows there's, nerves. Yeah, you hit a nerve, it hurts, right? It's not that we don't really have the experience. You do really have the experience. Just understand that even my hands can never touch. When I'm clapping, my hands do not touch. So you feel your hands together, but they're not actually touching because you're 99.999% space. So that being said, it did not get boring. The other thing is the only thing that gets bored is our ego. Because our ego wants to be constantly entertained. This is why it's hard for people to meditate. This is why it's hard for people to learn to be still, because the mind is like, I have to do something. I have to do something. I have to do something. And spirit is like, I just am. When you are, you can do anything and everything, right? So I think another important thing to keep in mind, Michelle, is, because I know these are scary thoughts. I've been through these thoughts as well. What's interesting, and I mean, Susie and I have been doing this a while. I mean, I've been talking to spirit about this stuff my whole life. And in my cosmic memory, I remember what it's like to be a non-physical. And the thing is that from here, it seems like you're losing that, right? You're losing the physical senses, the emotion. You're not losing anything, actually. You're just in a narrow focus where you can only experience limited things here. But once you go back to non-physical, there's nothing you miss about here. Trust me, nothing. Nothing. You were glad you were here. You had a cool experience, but you're not losing anything when you're back to non-physical. It's just different, right? So you may not have all of the, mind and the body emotions, but you have other levels of feeling experiences that you have. And what's cool is, you've been around for eternity. You will be around for eternity. And that's actually your home base. That's actually your norm. What you experience here in the physical is just a temporary experience, right? It's just like if you're sitting in an ice cream shop eating ice cream, you're like, oh, I never want to leave this ice cream shop because the ice cream is so good. But the truth is that you don't live at the ice cream shop. So when you leave, you can always go to the store, buy that ice cream, take it home, right? So I know it seems that way and it should seem that way, but no, you're never bored in non-physical. I want to let Susie reply to that. And then I definitely want to get to, before we do the next reading, I also want to get to your next comment about heaven.
Well, as always happens when you're talking and sharing, I get taken to a personal experience to share. And yeah, my conversations with spirit and the work that I do and done is very much like Matt Larkin was saying, when we're in that energy, when we're in that space, when we're in that realm, however we want to describe where we go, when we leave this physical body, there is no desire for relieving boredom is the best way, I guess, to say it, because we're of an energy that we don't need those experiences to have that dealt with, to have boredom removed, if you like. And the reason I get this sense of that's how it is when I first started this journey and I started working with the angelic energies, I was working with my mentor, and she called in the angelic energy around me. Archangel Michael came in and around me, and in front of 30 people, I levitated 2 or 3 inches off the stairs that I was stood on, because that's what happened with the energy, because I became formless almost, I guess, is the only way. And to try and describe it with the English language doesn't give it justice either. But in that moment of that experience, I became aware that I was not of the physical body anymore. There, and because I wasn't of the physical body anymore, I just felt bliss. I just felt warm, loved, and had no desire for anything else. And then, of course, when I came down and came back out of that energy and into my solid form, as solid as it can be in the quantum physics realm, I realized that I craved that sensation again. I craved that, and that need to feel that, because it was just such a beautiful energy. And when I had the conversations over the years about that experience, it always took me into, this is how it is. This is what it's like when you're no longer in the earth body. So yeah, so for me, I agree with Larkin. I agree with what I've learned and how I've learned it, that we don't get bored in the spirit world, because there is no need to relieve boredom, because there is that. We're just energy, we're love, we're bliss. And when you've got that, then there's no desires to try and do something to get that. I guess, it's like people who are adrenaline junkies, perhaps. I'm not one. I mean, I do like watching fast cars, and often think I'd like to have a go at that. And I have done things that, like scuba dive, which gave me a very I think scuba diving, when I did the scuba diving and was down in the water watching all the creatures and swimming around me, that's probably the closest I came to having that sensation again, because it was just pure bliss, being down there with the animals, with the fish and everything, and just being in my own space. And I think as well, that's part of it. We get to be in our own space when we're in the spiritual world. And we don't need all the things that we need down here. Because I guess for me, having those moments of trying to achieve that, it makes you feel more alive than you are. And that's a body sensation, and that's an ego craving. They're all those things. So yeah, I agree. We don't get bored when we're in the spirit world.
And I've been dying to tackle this question and comment, Michelle, for a few minutes now, but I want to say hello to Delencia. Hopefully I'm saying that right. And to Ward and to V. I think I said hello and welcome before. Thank you all for tuning in. So we had a great reading earlier, and I'm thinking this probably inspired some of Michelle's question and comments. It's so great. But I want to share some of this as well now. I know that they say heaven is there, but we have a body, and here we can eat and drink and do things and have experiences. So isn't it in heaven here, as we have more choices? So the amazing thing is actually in heaven, it is heaven here. So let's go into that for a minute, because it's sort of a totally different aspect of where Susie was coming from. But it's leading all in the same, pointing in the same direction. So we are taught, and this was part, again, this is religion is not God-made, it's man-made. Religion has taught heaven is a place. And this is because over the thousands of years, it has been easier, first of all, to comprehend as we were evolving. And number two, people running the churches and trying to control society, it makes it easier, right, for people to understand that the ego wants and I'm going to get back focused here, but this is important for you guys to understand. The ego wants things the way the ego wants it. The mind wants to understand. Understanding is not awareness. Understanding is a cognitive thing. It's a mind thing. It's a mental thing. It's an ego thing. So this is why, like, you guys come to readers because you want to perceive and understand that which your mind does not, right? But when we're doing a reading, we're tapping into what is beyond that, forms of intelligence that are beyond that. So this is where the reader can come in for you, right? So what's cool is that the church is geared towards, or the churches or religions are geared towards the egoic mind with the intention of being a bridge between, the spirit world or God and the afterlife and this life. But they leave out a whole section, a whole segment. We exist before we are born. So we're so focused on, this and the afterlife. So heaven is actually a state of being. It is a frequency. And, there are different levels of heaven, right? I'm just using the term heaven for like the afterlife. The spirit world, I usually call it the spirit world. Lately, I've been using heaven because there's a lot of readers out there using heaven and people relate to that. But, heaven is really a state of mind. I mean, you can be, an absolutely, you can have heaven here on earth. When you consciously awaken, you're in heaven here on earth. You have moments of heaven that you experience here. Heaven is a term we have given it, but it really indicates a level of vibrational frequency, of experience that you have. So in one day, in 1 hour, you can experience heaven and hell. And that's mind made, right? But when you pass into non-physical, you also have different frequencies and an ability to be in different places. So a lot of souls, when they cross over, and guys, a lot of this comes from what spirit tells me through readings over the years. And a lot of this just comes from my cosmic memory. I had a very intact cosmic memory. So this isn't me boasting for ego. This is just letting me know where I get my info from. And you guys can do this too. And we all have different, I will call it gifts, different abilities and connections, right? And that is mine. So I've always looked at, since I was like 2, I remember, okay, I'm here now. I'm relating to the spirit world, right? So I remember prior to coming here very clearly. It's hard for me to put it into words, but I believe the reason I programmed myself that way was so that I could come and share all of that with you guys. So we can eat and drink in heaven, in non-physical. Sure, we can. But just as I explained before with your first comment that I responded to, it's just a different vibration. So we experience it as what we describe as a physical level. We're getting to experience it as a lower frequency, because in lower frequency, it takes us a while. And we learn a lot through going through the process of even acquiring a cup of coffee. We have to make it. We have to buy the ingredients, or we have to go to the Starbucks or the coffee shop and get it. We have to have the money to buy it, right? All of those things make getting a cup of coffee a challenge. In non-physical, you can have a cup of coffee, but all you got to do is think a cup of coffee. Poof, there it is, right? You can create it however you want. And I want to leave this because I'm rattling on now. I want to say this one last thing. Remember, if we could manifest instantaneously here, it would be a disaster. Oh my God, I hate that person. I wish they were dead. Boom, they'd be dead. Then we have to go, oh my God, no, sorry, I didn't mean it. I wish they were alive. The point is that one of the things we're doing in this world by being in physical is we are expanding. we are raising the vibration. Our goal is to raise the vibration in this world. We do that by existing from a higher level of consciousness in a lower vibrational frequency. When enough of us do that together, we raise the frequency to bump this world up a notch. Then guess what? It's a little less physical. But again, you're not losing anything in heaven. And yes, you can find heaven here. Susie, if you don't mind, I want to, wait a second. Michelle says, I want to get to Ward's response as well, and then I'll turn over to Susie because I'm taking up too much time.
No. Take all the time you need. This is what this is all about. It's not all, we do our little bits.
Michelle says, I'm just grateful for life, good and bad. I take it all as being lucky to have this amazing experience. Bless you. Yes. And that makes me think of something really important. One of the things I try to do in my coaching and my readings that I just over the past few years really clarified for myself even is when we stop judging and looking at the world through contrast, when we stop always thinking, oh, I don't like that. Oh, I don't want that. Oh, I want this. Oh, that's terrible. Oh, that's wonderful. Oh, congratulations. I've gotten to the point where it's even hard for me. Like if someone says somebody passed away, it's hard for me to even say, oh, I'm so sorry, because I'm not sorry. The soul that passed over is happy, is joyful. I'm sorry for the pain and agony and loss that person goes through. I know how it feels. But there's always something bigger and better happening. We might be going through an emotional and mental suffering in the loss of that person, but no one is ever lost. It's part of the beautiful process. So when we stop seeing life as good and bad, and we just see it as it is, everything shifts. Welcome, Summer. Susie, can we get to Ward's wonderful comment first, and then we'll get to I'm glad to see that, Michelle.
Just to complete Michelle's lovely conversation that she's had with us. There's one little bit that she says, it's what about having a job? Now, I'm assuming you're meaning a job in the world of spirit. For me, my understanding is that we make choices when we get there. You know, we can choose to just be in that eternal state, whatever it is for that energy being, that person, that energy fit, however you want to describe it. Again, we're back to the English language and description. But for me, my experiences and the feelings that I have is that we can choose to do something, or we can choose not to when we're there, you know. My own very personal experience of having somebody in the world of spirit make a choice is when my husband passed away. It will be 30 years next year. Within, I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 years of him being passed, I started to sense and feel him around. It was probably another 5 or 6 years after that I then noticed him coming in when I was working with somebody else. So let's say, for example, Michelle, I was teaching you how to, well, I've got a perfect memory example of that. I was a lady I connected with through a group, wanted to learn how to read oracle cards. She felt completely lost, didn't know how to make the connections. So she and I used to spend time once a week talking on the telephone, practicing her card readings. And then she started to describe this man to me that she was connecting with as she was doing the card reading. And she described my husband to a T. And she was one of the very few people that have done that in all the years. But yeah, she did. And then the next time, the next lesson, connected again. He came in again. He was giving her, I guess, hints and tips. I don't know how you describe it. And this happened with somebody else and somebody else. And then I realized that in my work, he'd come in as a guide, not necessarily for me, because he wasn't connecting to me. He was connecting to the person I was working with, but he was acting as like a teacher's support almost. I guess you could call him a teacher's aide. I don't know, whatever. But yeah, and I realized then that he'd chosen to come in and support me in my work that I was doing. So in response to having a job, yes, I would say yes, if they choose to. And yeah, lovely. We will move on to Ward.
Hold on, I gotta say one more thing.
Oh, yeah, see, this is what we do. We're like a tag team.
I have to say this because your job is in relation to your frequency. So as your soul evolves and grows, you might change your job. As your soul is evolving, you might get more and more different jobs, right? So like my great grandmother, she was part of welcoming children who passed away in this life back into the spirit world. Now, you're not really children as souls, but it was part of that transition process. And there's souls that, you know, they're bakers, they're builders, it's whatever you want. And what happens is, because our souls are always evolving, guess what? Eventually, your jobs will shift as well. So it is a vibrational thing. But yeah, we definitely have jobs. Sorry, Ward, I've been dying to get to yours for a while as well. Go ahead, Susie. You want to read it?
All right. So Ward says, truth is so much. We can learn to understand the concept of involvement, and we can try to realize the reality of truth. Perhaps a presence is just the distance of being unreachable. With the existence of an absence is the connection to be here, the realization of reality. I think we need to add this in as well, just so it all flows. I believe we are all connected by our thoughts, and each of us has developed their own way of thinking. Our thoughts can be seen by others, giving rise to new ways of thinking. Some parts of our thoughts are shared, but others are not. Thoughts can continue to endlessly split, and truth is shared in different ways of thinking. These thoughts can always keep splitting, some in my head and some elsewhere. Then I learn a new thought from someone else, which changes my way of thinking and causes. I am just blown away to start with by this wonderful awareness. And yeah, that is such a beautiful question or comment, and it's such a deep one as well. And if we were to start really digging into this, I think we'd be here, for me, all night, for you guys, wherever you are in the world, all day. But my answer, if I was to sort of answer this comment in the way that I feel into it, I can only agree. I can only say yes, our thoughts do split. We do change, not necessarily because the thought we had previously was the wrong thought, but simply that we learned something from it, and then we learned something else from someone else, which then changed the way we perceive things. You know, I've been evolving in my work over the 20, 30 odd years now that I've been doing this. And when I first started, I was very much in the Wiccan energy. You know, I spent a year or two working as a solitary witch. And then I've moved and evolved and grown. And the more that I'm reading, and more recently, not because of anything, one thing in particular, but I've noticed that I'm just gradually being drawn more and more and more to understanding the concept of Jesus. Now, I went to Sunday school. I went mainly because I enjoyed colouring the pictures of the angels that they gave us to colour. No other reason than that, I will be honest. But I never went to church. I didn't read the Bible or anything like that. I didn't do Bible studies. Obviously, through schooling and religious studies, you get a concept of it and you do a little bit. But to say that I would connect as deeply as I am at the moment with understanding Jesus and where he came from and the thoughts behind it has really just taken me into thinking differently. And that is a work in progress at the moment. So for me, it's sort of very new and I'm still working with that energy of all of it. But yes, I just think we have to be open to receive not just our thoughts, but the thoughts of those around us, and just take from it what feels right for us, what lessons we learn from it, what understandings we gain from it, and really just find what resonates with us as well as individuals. So I hope that makes some sense, and I'll leave it to you, Larkin.
Yeah, I mean, amazing. I definitely recommend that everyone on here, reads Ward's comments. We'll all see things at whatever place of consciousness we are ready for. Now hold on here. I want to go back to the other one. Susie, can you bring the other one back up, please? Sorry, this one here. I want to talk about just for a second, because I mean, yeah, I could spend an hour just on Ward's comments. it's so beautiful to see this. These are the types of conscious conversations that I hope, if this dimension of our humanity survives, that we sooner rather than later, this sort of becomes the daily conversation, this type of thing. We are all one, and our thoughts are outside of our body, not just in our mind. They're in our auric field. And I remember when I first started being able to read thoughts, not that I don't invade anyone's privacy. I don't try to read thoughts, but the truth is that we all propel our thoughts outward. They all touch each other. They all mix, no matter how far away we are, beyond thought and time. So even if a person doesn't get a message that you're saying to them, or you can't speak to them, their soul, their consciousness is getting what you're thinking and saying. We have that reticular activating system in our mind, and we're able to block those things out, because if we were able to be aware of everything here the way we are in non-physical, we'd literally all be crazy, right? We already are, but we'd all be nuts. When I was first living in Europe, in the UK, and I was on airplanes all the time, back and forth from the US and the UK and all over Europe. And what I noticed was that it became very intense, that I was picking up on everybody's thoughts. And it was really entertaining at first, because I wasn't trying to read their thoughts, but they were projecting them. They were outside of them. So they were literally like coming at me. And it was so funny. And I remember sitting on the plane with the guy I was dating at the time, and I'd be like, wow, I tell him what was happening. And he kind of looked at me funny. And I was like, well, he was like what? And I would just go down each seat. And I'd be like, well, that guy right there, for example, he's wondering what he's going to tell his wife when he gets home, because she found out he wasn't where he thought she was going to be. And he's feeling a little guilty now because he's been having an affair with this person in this city. And this woman over here. And it was crazy. And that was, I think I was reading Weight Loss of the Mind at the time. And it was just very interesting to have that experience. And then, I learned easily how to kind of just tune that out and not pay attention to it. But our thoughts are projected. And that was so much proof for me that, what we send out comes back to us. And so this is one of the reasons why my initial intention today was to get on when I didn't know Susie was going to be here. I was going to have a prayer circle to help work with everyone to learn how to hold space for each other and talk about, powerful prayer and how to collectively focus that power of intention. So don't ever think that your thoughts and energy are not having an impact, even as an individual. Jesus said when two or more are gathered. And so it's always more powerful when you have like two or more of you. But my family are all TM meditators, transcendental meditators. And when we used to go by the Edgar Cayce Museum at Virginia Beach, we would have a hotel that was right next to the Edgar Cayce Museum. And we would always time this vacation so that we were there when the TM meditators would go out at dawn and meditate on the beach. And you know who really picks up on this stuff? The whales and dolphins. Because they have such a high conscious frequency. It's one of the reasons they chose to stay in the ocean and not come onto land. And we would go out and we would meditate as the sun started to rise, and it would call the dolphins in. And you could go out and stand in the ocean, and the dolphins would all be up right around they'd swim right through your legs and everything else. And it would always call the dolphins in. Anyway. All right. Wonderful. Causes further, let's see. Perhaps that's why everything is infinite, and thought that exists has always been there and always will be viewed in different ways, because every thought created always spawns a new one. Yes, that's so true. We know that, don't we, Susan? Susan. I always call her Susie. Yeah, it's very true. You're on mute. You're on mute, Susie. Susie, you're on mute.
Oh, right. Okay. Thank you. Yes, thank you, Ward, for that amazing conversation. And we could always go on for longer, but let's just, I'm conscious of time going. So I just want to pop back. and just see who I thought was. Where did I see her? Deborah. Deborah was here somewhere.
You're welcome, Ward. Yeah, we have to scroll way up here.
Yeah.
Oh, she said she has to leave. Let's see.
So
She's
Deborah's asked for if there was a quick message for her. So I'm hoping she's still here. Oh, she's stepped away. Okay.
She'll be back.
She will. Yeah. She's a lovely friend of mine, is Deborah. Known her for years. So, right. Okay. So Deborah's moved on. Who was after Deborah? Did see someone. Just takes a moment or two to scroll through everything now. Michelle, we've shared Michelle's lovely thoughts.
So let's see.
See anybody?
Well, yeah. So I don't know if V is still on there. I think. Let's see. Let's see. Sorry, guys. We're just reading through all of these. There's so many wonderful comments. And that's okay, Ward, if it's long. We love what you're sharing. It contributes so wonderfully. Hi, Summer. I didn't see Summer Dawson on there. She said, hello, I'm new and was wondering if I could have a reading.
Yeah. Okay.
And I know there were a couple people up further as well, but we can start with her because I know we're almost up to our 2 hours today.
We're getting the
my guard time is closing in on me. Yes, that's right. So let's see. Are you still there, Summer? Are you still there with us? Let's see. Let's make sure you're still on here. This was from 212. Let's see. So Summer, if you're still on there, I think Susie's going to draw a card for you. And I'm going to tune in for you as well. Do you have anything in particular? Hello, Elizabeth. Welcome.
Welcome. Lovely to see you.
Is there something in particular, Summer, since we're running short on time, that you want to ask about? Because sometimes what we tune into first is not exactly what you're looking for. Let's see here.
Thank you. Lovely to see you too, Elizabeth. She may not be here because
okay, V was way up there and she wanted a message from her mom. So I'm going to star that and then we'll see if she's still on. We had a lot of messages from them. Okay. Sorry, guys. When we get going, we don't always see everybody's messages. Yeah. That happens anyway with StreamYard. You do the best you can.
And if for whatever reason you haven't connected with us this evening, then please come back and see us next week.
Yep. And at some point, I will get to use my angel therapy cards. We'll do them. Summer, will you just let us know that you're still there, please? Because if you're not there, we want to make sure that we get whoever's still on here today, since we're going to close up shortly. And then if you're not, hopefully you will catch up with us next week. Let us know, guys, who's still on there. Is Summer on there? And is V still on there? I know V wanted a reading as well. We'll take whoever's still on here with us. I have done that before, though, where I've been doing readings and the person popped off and I was reading for them. And then I said, oh, please come back and watch the replay. Don't forget, guys, if you like this and find it valuable, make sure you like the podcast. More people get to see it, and subscribe to the YouTube channel. We're just getting started here. Oh, thank you, Ward.
Thank you, Ward.
That's great. It's so much more fun when you guys are engaged and participating.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I don't know if either of these people are still on here.
Okay. So what I'm going to do then is...
Oh, here's Elizabeth. Wait. Oh, Elizabeth. Where are you located? In New York. Okay.
Well, I'm in the UK, Elizabeth, but I think you know that already. So I think she's meaning you, Larkin.
I'm in Ohio. Ohio. I did live in Glasgow, Scotland for a while, but I'm in Ohio right now.
Okay, so I think then neither of those lovely ladies have responded. So I feel I'm just going to put draw a card for the collective. And even though you didn't get to do your full prayer circle,
Anytime.
maybe just do a small one.
Oh, OSU. Oh, no kidding. That's awesome. Yeah, that's about an hour and a half for me. OSU.
Yeah, because I think there's quite a few of us very much in need. So for this group collective card, we have got the lovely Shiva. I do like Shiva.
Oh, yes, me too.
And it says karma release, the end of a cycle, debts are paid, choose your destiny. And for me, that resonates beautifully with the readings that we've given this evening, you know, about new beginnings, new choices, letting go of the past. The first reading we did was all about releasing that connection to the past. And then the other one was all about making the choices. So very much, I do feel for many of us at the moment as a collective, we're all in this space of reflection, revitalizing, recalibrating our energy fields. There feels to me in the energy as a whole, there's a lot of recalibration going on for a lot of people. So it's almost this feeling of, I hear people coming in and asking, why do I feel so disconnected? And we've had this conversation that we're not actually ever disconnected. We're just in a space where we don't feel that subtlety like we normally do. And I do believe and feel that's because at the moment, as we're moving out of the end of this year into next year, a lot of us are having to recalibrate our energy, just spend a lot of time reflecting on what we've done so far to date and where we're going and what potentially we could be doing in the future or will be doing in the future. You know, Larkin and I've spent the last probably 2 and a bit years talking about this podcast, talking about coming together, working together. And we, you know, even today, there was a bit of a spanner in the works from my end that delayed me getting here. But I came, I got here, I got the nudge. And I am sure Larkin said at the beginning, if one or the other of us isn't here, then the other one will keep it going. And it might just be a slightly different format to what we're doing. But for me, this is all about us reconnecting, recalibrating our energy, coming back into where we are meant to be and what we're meant to be doing at the time that it's meant to be done. And I feel very much for us, this is where we've been this past couple of years to this point now. And it certainly feels that way for me. And also, you know, once you've made that choice, the momentum builds. You know, it's coming on live and doing lives like this is always a little bit in the moment at times. But once you get going and get flowing, it's so obvious that it's meant to be. So yeah, so for all of you out there listening to this, the lovely Shiva has come in and saying, but I feel saying now is the time, recalibrate, make your choice. You've cleared your karma. It's time to get moving.
And, you know, I want to also let everybody know a couple of things. You know, Susie and I both have different groups and pages and things that you can follow. Have them listed here. You can always get back on the replay and see. And, you know, on Thursday nights at 9:30 EDT, I have my A1R psychic radio program. It's only like 15 minutes, but you guys can tune in. Susie and I are going to be having some upcoming events as well. So you can find and follow any of those by either following my psychic medium page, or Susie has groups and pages listed here as well. I would honestly recommend that you choose something of each of ours to follow, because we each have our individual work that we can support you with and our collective work, but yet we're completely in sync. So if you want more support as the week goes on and you want to interact with us more, you can do that. Okay.
Thank you.
So follow us. You can join another time. Wonderful, Ward. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Ward. Beautiful. Thank you.
share peace with love. Oh, sorry.
Oh, sorry.
That's fine. You're going through the
There we go.
peace with
Okay.
love to make sparkling life beyond the thundering night spark is a white light. Yes, I love white light. So you can and I can become what we see beyond the stars and the bright shining eyes. Yes, that is beautiful, Ward. That's so true.
Good. Yeah,
That's beautiful.
absolutely lovely.
And Michelle says, thank you.
Thank you, Elizabeth. It's lovely to see you. I connected with Elizabeth through a tarot course.
Oh, wonderful. Wonderful. Oh, thank you. Yes, here in the US, we will have a happy Thanksgiving. Thank you so much.
Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. We don't have that here in the UK, but yeah.
So next week, we will be back on at 5:30 BST time and 12:30 EDT time. Please invite anyone you know and think might enjoy or appreciate and benefit from this. You know, we're just getting started with this, so we appreciate you guys coming and liking and supporting the broadcast. Energy, your questions, your comments.
V's just popped in. Okay. And she says she's here. All righty. Okay, V. We did. I'll just give the cards a shuffle. V, you will be our last reading because we are nearly at the 2-hour mark. So you've managed to pop back in just in time.
That's closing up. Okay.
Divine guidance and inspiration. It always works.
Good thing we keep talking so long, right?
Yes. Yeah. Well, the trouble is when we get talking, we don't stop.
And as Ward was mentioning, you know, part of this is, you know, once you guys open up a flow and a channel for energy to flow through, that's what happens. You know, it's a whole different level of consciousness. So I've done the first few angel parties I did that were supposed to be 3 and 4 hours, ended up being 8 hours long. I remember leaving this house in Columbus at 2 in the morning. Snow had started and I had a 2-hour drive, which took my mom and I 3 or 4 hours. So I didn't get home till about 5 a.m. But what happened is I just got so into the readings. I ignored the timer. I track of time.
And you just don't notice it either, do you? Because it just doesn't feel like
I gave myself a
time at all.
Everyone was supposed to have a 20-minute reading and they all ended up getting about a 2-hour reading. So it was just after that, I was like, well, I got to reel this in, you know? So Susie's pulling some beautiful cards for you, V. Must be meant to happen today since you popped in just in time.
Okay, so for V, we have got, this card came out earlier, but the lovely Lady Venus about light activation, call to action, power surge, and earth mission. You've also got ancient healing, free flow, and messages. The first thing that comes in around these cards for you, V, very much is I feel very guided towards your solar plexus area. I'm very drawn to all the yellow and the oranges in these cards. And this is how I read. I don't always necessarily go with the pictures or the words. I can go with color, and I'm very much drawn to this color yellow around you and this energy for you. So there's something going on, I feel, for you where perhaps you're feeling a little bit out of sorts. Maybe there's a little bit of turmoil going on. I get what I call like this butterfly collywobble feeling in my stomach, and it can be like it's more or less like a nervous excitement. So I think there's something coming in and around you where you're perhaps making a choice or a decision, and you're a bit sort of I don't want to say hesitant because you're going for it, but it's more a feeling of this nervous excitement. But I just feel like I want to bring some balance into my solar plexus. I just need to get that energy a little bit grounded, because I just think you sort of, my mind and my mouth now seems to feel like it wants to go off at 100 miles an hour. And I really need to slow down. I need to get back into feeling a bit grounded, to just feel that, because the call to action are the words on the Lady Venus card, and I do feel very much that you are being called to action. You're being called to do something. It's almost like you've got 99.9% of it there, but there's all this madness, this chaos going on around, and I feel like it's sort of internal conflict. It's almost a feeling of should I, shouldn't I? I get this push me, pull me feeling going on for you as well. So I do feel that there's some of this is with the ancient healing card. I'm very much feeling drawn to saying that some of what's taking place here is also that there are some layers within your past. I want to talk about DNA. Okay, so everything's happening all at once, dealing finance. Okay, yeah. So, but there needs to be something healing on this level. So you're talking about financial burdens. So that could very much be why your solar plexus is in such a turmoil as well, because that area of the body is often, for me, linked to when we're connecting with financial worries. We use citrine to connect to the solar plexus, and citrine's the merchant stone for helping bring in abundance and things. So there's lots of things going on around for you, where I just feel if you can just take a step back, slow everything down a little bit, get some clarity around these situations, because while you're doing the 100 miles an hour, you're not really getting any clarity. So I just need you to just take a breath and really slow down, ground your energy, and just allow. You've got the free flow card, which sort of would make you think that you just got to let everything go and free flow. But I do agree with that in this reading, that there is an element of you needing to free flow, but it's about releasing and letting go of the things that you really have no control over. It's almost this feeling of you're trying to just control everything and just think about, well, that, what if I did that, and what if I did that, and if I do that, that'll happen, but if I do that, this might happen. Let's just stop all of that. Let's just come back in. Let's just really gain some clarity, and let's just then allow the energy to flow to guide you in the direction, because you've got the messages card as well. And I feel very much that when you can get into that headspace, or not even headspace, but into that energy space of just calming everything down, of just beginning to settle your solar plexus, ground your energy, and really just enable yourself to receive. It's everything is all about you're putting it all out, putting it out there. Whereas really the universe, the angels, whoever you work with, whoever's around you, they can't get in to give you the messages that they need to bring you, because of all of this chaotic energy is just causing a bit of a whirlpool. I want to just touch a little bit on the ancient healing as well. I just feel that some of this comes back to I'm hearing the word DNA. So there's something going on there as well, where you can look at working with healing what's in your DNA. Now, I don't necessarily mean that as a genetic thing. It feels more like it's sort of an ancestral. We talk about ancestral DNA. We talk about DNA as genetics. So I'm feeling this is more to do with perhaps belief systems that have come through, down through families. You know, it might be the grandmother or, you know, great grandmother that used to have this saying, you know, money doesn't grow on trees. And it's come down through the family. You know, it's the same we hear all around, but there's just something in the family here that feels like somebody would have said it. It's got passed down, and it's become a subconscious belief. And this is where you're being guided to dig deeper, if you like, and work with this energy and work with changing it. You've just popped up and said that, yeah, you're in school, and I think you said something about no support system. I appreciate that not having a support system can be challenging, but there's some of these things that you can do for yourself, and find tools that can help you with that. That's maybe why the crystals dropped in to the message as well. You know, start working with crystalline energy that can help bring rebalance into your energy field as well. And I'll hand over to Larkin.
Beautiful, Susie. I'm riding along with your reading, and I'm getting all the same messages while Susie's speaking as well. One of the things I'm seeing V2 is, and it's interesting because while Susie's sharing, I am also, seeing these things. I see you made another comment here, but I want to stick with I have no support system first, because at the very beginning of this broadcast, most of you were not on here at the beginning of the broadcast today at 12:30 my time, 5:30 UK time. And one of the things that I focused on was partnership with spirit. So please know that oftentimes in this world, we may not experience a physical human support system with our friends or families or colleagues. As a matter of fact, oftentimes you might be experiencing the opposite and feel very much alone. But understand, you always, 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 always have a support system. You are never, never, never alone. And one of the things that always helped me in my life was I've always been very aware that I had this spiritual support system. So even when I felt completely alone in this human world, I always knew my spirit guides and angels were there. And so really knowing, I mean, like I can see them right now. Your spirit guides, literally, I see 3 of them like on the side of you. They're showing me that they're doing this. They're like, come this way, that way. No, 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 not over there. Come this way. Focus this way. They're really coaching you. They're rooting you on. And they want to remind you and say, hey, like your life experience and where it's going is a partnership with spirit. So they're doing their part, kind of trying to point the way. But as humans, it's very hard for us sometimes because we get so sucked in by what our mind and our ego wants, that 95% of our mind that has been brainwashed and programmed, which Susie was talking about just in a very different way. She was explaining it. And so those subconscious beliefs that you have, your spirit guides are trying to refocus you a different direction, because your life getting easier needs to have more energetic flow with less resistance for it to flow. Money likes speed, and it likes flow, and it likes decisiveness. So when we come from an ancestral background where perhaps there are some blocks or funny ways of making decisions that are delayed or met with resistance, that comes then up to us in our generation as money blocks. So, what I'm seeing your spirit guides are saying is lighten up and fly higher. Start to not think about the things that are so serious for you. Take them with a grain of salt. The things you're worried about, because that's like praying for something you don't want. Worry is, right? Lighten up about it. Find humor in it. Don't take yourself or your life situation so seriously, and you'll allow the vibration to raise. And in order to have money and abundance flow into your life, and for there to be less of a struggle, that lightening up of frequency needs to happen. Okay, so that's definitely coming in very strongly. Let's see. And then we do have to close up in a minute here, but she says, when my mom passed, my whole life changed. You're a single mom. Yeah. So absolutely. So there's a lot of that mom energy happening there on both sides. Hi, Kylie. Welcome. Let's see. This is nope. Never mind, Kylie. I'm going to block and report you, honey. Thank you. So just ignore Kylie, guys. We have a scammer and a spammer. So one of the things that you guys need to, pay attention to is the hard times that we have in our life. Is very important that we do what we talked about a little bit earlier. And that is, when we're having a hard time, it's an opportunity. So even though what your experience is pain and frustration and these challenges, of course, it's going to change your whole life. And I'm so sorry that you're going through that with your mom. You must miss her terribly. And what we need to do, though, is step back and understand whenever we have a challenge or something painful that pops up, even though we can't see it, and this is one of the reasons we come into human form, to have these challenges, is there are opportunities for us, because on the other side of this struggle and suffering and the hardships that you're going through right now is something better. And we have to work our way through it. We can't get around it. We can't back up away from it. We have to work through it in order to come out the other side. And there is another side. But how long you stay there is determined by the approach that you take. So about a half an hour ago, we were talking about making sure that we are not just looking at life as good or bad, hard or easy, what we like or what we don't like, painful or feeling good, but we look at it more neutrally with an air of acceptance, because in that acceptance, life moves us out of it. And also keep in mind, V, that this month has been filled with chaos, and hope it gets better. It will get better. But like Susie said early on in your reading, in my version of this is, in stillness, you get clarity. What you resist persists. So when you look at chaos and you feel, I don't like it, it's uncomfortable, everything's chaotic, that's your ego's way of saying things are not going the way it wants them to get what it thinks it wants. Okay. And so one of the things that helps is you have to learn to be very still. When we are still and we don't react to what's happening in our life, because it's never happening to us, it's happening from and for us. Okay, it's happening from and for us. And that's our challenge when we're here in this world. So for the chaos to settle down, it's like when you're in the middle of a tornado, do you want to get out in the whirlwind of the tornado or the hurricane? No, you don't, because you're going to get sucked up in it. And when you're spinning at, this high speed and you're being thrown and tossed around with all of the debris that the hurricane or the tornado has picked up, it's confusing and you're dizzy and you're scared and you're uncomfortable. If you stand right in the eye of the storm and you still, everything will settle. And then you can see through the chaos and you'll get some clarity. And your mom wants to reach through to you as well. But you really need to allow that, like Susie was talking about the solar plexus, really get centered in yourself, in that center. You have to do it. You're the one with free will. You're the one that says which direction this goes. And the guidance that we are both sharing with you today is the next steps you need to do for that to happen. Okay. And thank you for letting us read for you and trust us. Susie, is there anything else that you want to share with that?
No, I've just popped a little comment in, and yeah, I think.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Beautiful, Susie. You're welcome, V. Thank you for popping back.
Yeah.
Thanks. We do need to close up now because I have to head to the barn, and it's been almost 2.5 hours for us now. And again, we will see you next week at the same time. I hope you guys will like this broadcast, follow our YouTube page, and again, reach out to both of our pages and groups so that you can have interaction with us throughout the week if you need it. Okay?
Yeah, for sure.
Thank you,
everybody. As always, so grateful for you and for your presence. And just want to add, sending lots of love and healing out to the world and to everybody, because I just get a sense that there is a lot of us in need at the moment. So yeah, much love and blessings to you all. Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone.